Welcome to Xhibition, an Xbox podcast, episode number 21. My name is Samuel Adams, and this is a show dedicated entirely to the world of Xbox, bringing you the news you might have missed on YouTube and on podcast services around the world every single Sunday. And we have a very big show for you today. We have the Tokyo Game Show 2021 recap, which did in fact feature some pretty big announcements, nothing groundbreaking, but certainly stuff that we do need to discuss. In addition, we have a couple of stealth drops onto the Xbox Game Pass library, two of which I have downloaded, one of which I've checked out, and more certainly on the way. Additionally, a cool new clips tool is finally integrating directly with Xbox. I'll tell you more about that and how you can highlight some of your best plays. And we also have a Forza Horizon 5 update. Again, big show today. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and start things off with the Tokyo Game Show 2021 recap. Now, this is up right now on the Xbox Wire, but before we dive into any news, can we talk about how cool this giant robot is? Like, this is some really cool art here. You've got Series X, Series S, one on each arm. You've got an Xbox One in the middle on the chest piece there, the original Xbox on the crotch for some reason. Lots to break down here, a 360 on the calf, but man, do I love that art. Very, very cool stuff, and if you have not seen it, head over there, check it out on the Xbox Wire. But when it comes to the Tokyo Game Show 2021, the biggest point of Xbox being present was to show dedication to the region. And did they do that effectively? I think it's a very, very good start. So let's go ahead and start off first and foremost with this piece of news right here. Xbox Cloud Gaming launches in Japan, Australia, Brazil, and Mexico. It's out now, and it's fully capable of doing exactly what it does here in the States in these locations around the world. This is significant for a number of reasons. First and foremost, because it is expanding the program, but additionally, in Japan, gaming on the go is much more of a norm. And so to put this infrastructure in place, to play massive games wherever you are, that is very, very important for the success of this service in this region. And so it's nice to see that it launched as of October the 1st. I have not heard of any issues. It seems like it's running exactly the same way that it does here in the States and in other locations where it is available. And of course, we've talked in depth before about Xbox Cloud Gaming and how it's not 100% there yet. You have to have a very solid connection. You have to ensure that you are able to use touch controls for a lot of these games. Not every game is available just to pick up on your phone and play. And of course, then we had the issue of the workaround that had to be made for the iPhone users, where Android could download a native application. Apple didn't like that. So now we have this browser-based solution. No matter how you break it down, though, this is a great step in the right direction, and I do think it's going to pay dividends in the long run for Xbox's success in the region. On top of that, we saw Forza Horizon 5's PC specs revealed. You can check those out more at forzamotorsport.net. Of course, I'm not going to break that down too much because if you have a PC, you should know if you're going to be able to play the game, and of course, I'm sure those requirements are going to be available no matter what storefront you buy the game from, and we'll talk more about Forza Horizon a little bit later in the show. But on top of that, we also have a commitment to Japanese creators and PC gaming experience on Windows 11. They say, quote, Sarah Bond, head of Xbox Creator Experience and Ecosystem, took to the stage to discuss our commitment to creators in Asia, sharing that Xbox is partnered with over 200 independent developers based in Japan through our ID at Xbox program, providing a stage for exciting indie games and experiences to come to our platform in the future. Many of these games can be discovered with Xbox Game Pass. We also provided a look into gaming with the new Windows 11 beginning October the 5th. Games can look better than ever thanks to Auto HDR, a unique capability with Windows 11, which automatically updates your game's lighting and color from standard dynamic range to high dynamic range. Windows 11 can also soon load your games faster thanks to the technology Direct Storage. This means you'll get to experience incredibly detailed game worlds without long load times. End quote. A bit of a caveat here. I have seen some reports that Windows 11 is enabling a feature that tanks PC performance in some games. It is yet to be seen if that will be taken back, if they will roll back that update. Of course, Windows 11 is not officially out until next week, but these two specific enhancements that they're discussing in the blog post, Auto HDR and Direct Storage, Effectively, if you have the right hardware, you can have a similar experience to what you get in the Xbox Series ecosystem, where you have incredibly fast load times and auto HDR that makes these experiences just better, especially the older legacy experiences, and it's nice to see that running on a hardware level. But to bounce back to the independent developers, 200 independent developers based in Japan through ID at Xbox. That is a massive win. And one of those games came to Xbox Game Pass this week, Mighty Goose. We'll talk about that more in a moment. In fact, let's talk about it right now. New content coming to Xbox Game Pass, Scarlet Nexus, and more. We'll talk more about Scarlet Nexus after we read through this full announcement, but they write, quote, "We also showcased an array of exciting titles, including Scarlet Nexus, Back for Blood, AI Somnium Files, and Mighty Goose, which will be available with Xbox Game Pass. We announced that fans will be able to play Scarlet Nexus today with Xbox Game Pass from the award-winning team at Bandai Namco Entertainment in Japan. The title is playable on console, PC, tablet, and cloud gaming, where available with touch controls." I love Scarlet Nexus. This is a game that launched earlier in the summer, and it did take the world by storm, but a lot of people asked why it didn't launch on Game Pass. That was kind of the general gist of the conversation, and a lot of people thought that it felt like a good Game Pass game. And so it seems those cries were heard, and it has now been added to Game Pass. And Scarlet Nexus is a game that I never would have picked up. It's not one that would have originally piqued my interest. Now, I love the branding, I love the way the game looks and plays, but it was not one that I would have invested my money into. Now, I'm absolutely going to play through it. I'm about 3 chapters in, I think, and I'm just kind of getting going with the game. I've played it for probably between 2 and 3 hours on and off. Of course, this weekend we have the Halo Infinite technical test, which is going on right now, as a matter of fact. And so with all of that being considered, I'll probably get back to it next week. But really fun game here, and it's one that shows the value of the investment of Xbox coming to Japan. I think that's a very important area for them to focus on. And then, of course, I also downloaded Mighty Goose, which has a similar kind of, I almost want to say, Metal Slug kind of look to it. And so it's one that I'll be checking out as well. Really fun-looking little game there that I was pleased to see jump onto the Xbox Game Pass library. Of course, Back for Blood, one of the biggest games of the fall season, is bringing back that Left 4 Dead kind of vibe. I played through some of the beta a couple of months back, and it was very, very fun with a squad, and it's very important to have this game in Game Pass so that people can party up and so that people can come together and play, because it's not really going to have the same kind of value solo as it does as a team, and I think that's pretty apparent in the cooperative first-person shooter description they have here on the Xbox Wire. But that bad boy's launching October the 12th, just a couple of days away. Another big step forward for Japanese localization is coming through Starfield and Redfall. It seems like Bethesda is going very hard in ensuring that Japanese players will still get the full experience that they deserve through these 2 groundbreaking games. But they write, incorporating over 300 actors and over 150,000 lines of dialogue into the Japanese localization. Starfield arrives exclusively on Series X and S and PC on November 11th, 2022. And of course, coming to Game Pass on day 1. Redfall arrives summer 2022 exclusively on Xbox Series X and will be available day 1 on Game Pass. So you've got 2 very big Bethesda games coming out and having that Japanese localization. Not only are these big in other areas of the world now, they're also very significant for Japan, so it's good to see the focus on that region. Of course, there's plenty more to break down here. You've got news about Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, The King of Fighters 15, lots of other stuff. If you want to watch the entire presentation, you certainly can. It's up now on the Xbox YouTube channel. But I love the focus of expanding Xbox, and I love to see other areas of the world come in to my ecosystem, because it's not my ecosystem, it's our ecosystem. And I think so often there are these divisions that we have within gaming, especially you see this with PlayStation a lot, where there is just this one group of games over here, and then there are North American games. And so to see the borders continually broken down within the world of Xbox, I think it shows different ways to inspire other creators. I think it shows different ways to inspire players to experiment with new games, and what better way to experiment than through Xbox Game Pass. And so right now, Xbox is poised not only to impact other regions, but also to impact other regions through spreading the news that's happening in other regions, through spreading the experiences that are in other regions. And I think that's incredibly powerful. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. And of course, as I mentioned, if you have not already, check out Scarlet Nexus, because this is a very good game, very fun, very engaging, and it's one that has a very cool story to it as well. I'm really enjoying the story. A little light romance touches here and there, but it's one that I, again, wouldn't have thought might have been my first choice, but it was the first game that I picked up from this most recent drop, and absolutely worth your time. On top of that, though, if none of that interests you, Marvel's Avengers is now on Game Pass, and so this news comes from the Xbox Wire with Hunter Wolf, the community coordinator at Crystal Dynamics, writing, quote, "We just launched our biggest expansion to date for Marvel's Avengers, Black Panther: War for Wakanda. We loved seeing your reactions to the new campaign, and today we are excited to announce that we're making the complete Marvel's Avengers experience, including all previously released free content, available with Xbox Game Pass for PC, console, and cloud on September the 30th. Yep, you read that right. Every player with an Xbox Game Pass membership can experience the full game and all our post-launch heroes and missions. This includes 4 story campaigns that showcase one or more heroes' unique abilities, as well as our Avengers Initiative, our evolving online multiplayer world that lets you and 3 friends play as any hero in our roster and embark on global adventures. Game Pass members will also have immediate access to our new War for Wakanda expansion, featuring our new playable hero, Black Panther, and hours of new multiplayer and story content. This is what should have happened from day one, and I understand that not every game can do this. I understand that financially, it might not make sense for a large corporation to go Game Pass on day one. But when it comes to a live service multiplayer game, having a community there to support the game is just as important as the game being good. You have to have players. And with Marvel's Avengers, I've seen so many people on my Twitter timeline going back in, checking it out, and saying, hey, maybe I was too harsh on this. Maybe this is something that I should go back and play through. I know my friend Insipid Ghost, he is a longtime Avengers fan. Now he's getting more people to come into the ecosystem and play with him. My question is this too little too late? Obviously, it has been 1 year since the Avengers launched, and since that time, it has ebbed and flowed. A lot of the community has hemorrhaged in the recent months. I don't know, in about a 1 month time frame after the launch of the game, it was basically barren. And so to have it added to Game Pass in a time where it's been a bit since we've had a big game hit the service, I think that shows you can bring a game back, and I'm going to dive into it, if not this weekend, sometime next week. Like I said, lots to play. The ongoing conversation around Game Pass is that I have this giant, backlog now that has developed, but it certainly is one that I've been wanting to play, but much like Scarlet Nexus, I just don't have the overwhelming drive to invest 50 to 60 bucks in it. And so now that I can just download it and get all of the content right there waiting for me, sure, I'll dive in, give it a shot, might buy some skins, who knows what'll happen, might get a little crazy with it. So we will definitely dive in and give it a shot. But between Scarlet Nexus, Mighty Goose, Marvel's Avengers, tons of games coming to Game Pass this week, certainly a great week to be a Game Pass subscriber. If there's one thing I've always loved about gaming, it's accessibility. And this week during the Accessibility Showcase, Microsoft showcased a lot of new features that are coming to improve the way that people of different abilities engage with the world of Xbox. And this is something that is incredibly important to me, not because I have a disability, but because people around the world deserve to experience games in a way that makes them comfortable and meets them where they are. And I think that we've seen this on display in recent weeks through Deathloop specifically, where it was one of the biggest games of the year, is one of the biggest games of the year. But its accessibility options left a lot to be desired for a lot of people. I saw a lot of conversations around that within the community, and so it was disappointing to see that Bethesda had dropped the ball in that regard, and I'm sure that some kind of update is hopefully on the way, but I also understand that the issues with Deathloop come from the gameplay mechanics itself, or themselves, and the way that the game itself is actually designed. It seems like it could be difficult to create an experience that is completely open and able to be accessed by everyone. And so that's something that the gaming industry needs to deal with. And Microsoft has for a long time been on the front lines of pushing for accessibility with their accessibility controller, which is incredibly useful for PC players who want to experience games that might not be able to move specific limbs, that might be stuck to a specific location, whatever it could be. You can probably overcome that through the Xbox controller that was created a few years ago. Very awesome to see Microsoft pushing that boundary then. And this is a smaller step forward, but one that is still incredibly important. And while there are plenty of new pieces of information in the accessibility showcase, which you can check out here on YouTube, the biggest improvement is that you can actually now find games based on their accessibility features. And this is something that is awesome to see. So this report comes from The Verge's Kate Sanchez, who writes, Xbox is making it easier to find accessibility information for games, according to an announcement from the company at its accessibility showcase. Games in the Microsoft Store will have accessibility feature tags, so players with disabilities can make sure games have the features they need before buying or downloading them. So there are roughly 20 tags right now, with more on the way as needed, but this is very important so that when Deathloop comes to Xbox, people will know, I can't play that. Then they can ask the developer to add these features, but they don't waste their money and then feel the disappointment of a game that they can't play. On top of that, you can discover new experiences that you can play. And I think that's very, very cool to see. So, while I might not have a disability, I understand the importance of this in the grand scheme of things. And I think that it's incredibly important to continue listening to that community and to develop experiences that are welcoming to all people, because gaming is truly for everyone. And in a similar kind of way that we see this branch between PC and console where everybody can play anywhere, you've seen a lot of talk in the community about everybody can play anywhere, how they want, no matter what they're able to play, everybody can play. That's the kind of thing that I want to be able to say is possible, not only in Xbox, but in PlayStation and Nintendo and PC gaming, everywhere. Let people enjoy games and ensure they are able to join and become a part of that community. I think that's what's really, really important. So this is awesome to see. Glad to see it. Again, if you do want to check out the entire accessibility showcase, it's up right now on the official Xbox YouTube channel. Now we have the Forza Horizon 5 The Road to Mexico September update out now on ForzaMotorsport.net, and this kind of goes alongside Forza Horizon 5 Let's Go Episode 7, which is roughly about an hour long, up now on YouTube, where they dig into the menus, they dig into the intricacies of what Forza Horizon 5 is bringing to the table when it launches next month now. We are already in October. So that game is certainly creeping up, followed closely by Halo Infinite, a big holiday season ahead. But I want to point out one specific thing in this entire blog post that I think really speaks to me. And of course, you see a lot about the different car menus. You hear a lot about the barn finds that are coming back that seem to be a little bit different, because now you can see them during a race and then go back and find them after a race. That's the biggest addition to the detail behind barn finds. And of course, wheel spins are back. They're changing the way clothing is purchased as well. And you can find all of these and more in the Forza update here. But the biggest benefit to me is in this sentence that's towards the beginning of the entire blog itself. But Forza Horizon 5 is designed to be a snackable campaign, or I should say Horizon Adventure is a snackable campaign. You can drop in, do a small piece of gameplay to earn accolades, and drop out. Alternatively, you can take on an entire category of accolades and steadily progress through them all in a weekend. Forza Horizon 5 is undoubtedly a massive game that you can sink hours into, but we've made it just as rewarding if you can only spare 15 minutes for a play session. We also know that every Horizon player has their own distinct playstyle, so you'll always have a choice in which accolades to pursue next. During the actual Let's Go presentation, the presenter says, we know you are going to earn every accolade because the majority of people won't. I can almost guarantee you that I will not. But it is nice to see that the game meshes around the way that you play. And as somebody who is an adult, full-time job, 9 to 5, all of that good stuff, it's becoming more apparent to me now than ever before that games, while they are fun and while a huge game can be an incredible opportunity to get lost in this other world, it's also nice to have this snackable content as they have here in Forza, where I can spend 15 or 20 minutes and get a fun gameplay experience out of it. Because when a game begins to get too time consuming, I might not be able to play it just because by the time I get back around to it, I've forgotten how to play, I've forgotten the controls, I've forgotten what's happening. Well, here I am, I guess I'll move on to the next thing. And so to see Forza Horizon 5 come back and give this snackable kind of content to where I can make this a slow burn, where I can be like I'm in an Xbox commercial and get home from work that day, throw down the keys, grab the controller, and play Forza Horizon 5 for 20 minutes before I have something else to do. I love that ability. And of course, there's plenty more to see here because there is so much information from the map itself, which is now out there, to the different types of cars you'll be able to experience and the different kinds of events you'll be able to participate in. There is so much coming in Forza Horizon 5, and I cannot wait. I would go so far as to say it's up there with Halo Infinite for me. I loved Forza Horizon 4, and I was lucky enough to hold off on Forza Horizon 4 until I got an Xbox Series X, because when that got a day one upgrade, I fell in love with Forza Horizon 4. That was really my main game for the entire holiday season last year. Wake up, go to bed, playing Forza Horizon 4. It was great. And so I definitely want to have that same kind of experience with Forza Horizon 5. But man, I'm just so excited about the ability to have the best of Xbox this holiday season, where I can bounce back and forth between Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. And it just feels rich. It feels robust. It's going to be a fantastic holiday with plenty more on the way in 2022. And I'm looking forward to mixing in some third-party games there as well. But Forza Horizon 5, The Road to Mexico, latest blog update out now. And again, we are just a little over, 1 month from the launch of Forza Horizon 5. So stay tuned. Plenty more to come on that one. New games with gold for October 2021 have been announced, and it's a mixed month, I suppose, once again, with two big standouts coming from the Xbox 360 community in the form of Castlevania and Resident Evil. Dean Shimabukuro, I think I said that correctly, Senior Marketing Program Manager, writes on the Xbox Wire, quote, "The October games with gold lineup is here. On Xbox One and Series X and S, fly to the beat of the rhythm in Arrow and fight the power using parkour and hover. And for our lineup via backward compatibility, take down Dracula with your favorite heroes and Castlevania, Harmony of Despair, and relive the survivor horror classic Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Xbox Live Gold members will have exclusive access to these games for a limited time as part of Games with Gold, and of course Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members as well. Arrow is available from October 1st through the 31st. Hover is available 16th through November the 15th. Castlevania Harmony of Despair is available October 5th through the 15th. And Resident Evil Code Veronica X is available October 16th through the 31st. A bit of a spooky touch there in the Xbox Live Games with Gold. Once again, the value of Xbox is really put into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, not so much games with gold anymore. This is more of an obligation at this point, I feel, and we talk about this month after month, but Castlevania is a good touch. I think that's going to be a good Halloween feel, and of course, so many Castlevania games just came to Xbox through the Advanced Collection, I think is what it was called, but it was announced a couple of weeks back during a Nintendo showcase, I believe. So lots to dive into here. $75 in value, 3,200 in gamer score to earn. If you do want to dive in, you can give it a shot. But no matter whether you're playing Scarlet Nexus, Marvel's Avengers, Halo Infinite's technical test, or even some games with gold, Metal has the skills that you need to succeed here because you can actually Now clip your Xbox plays and then edit them with Metal TV. Now, if you aren't familiar with Metal, this is a service that effectively helps showcase your clips not only within the Metal community, but by trimming them, saving them, and sharing them to social media. And so, in a world where the built-in clip tool within Xbox is lackluster, in a world where it doesn't hold a candle to what PlayStation can bring, Metal integrates directly with your Xbox account to where you can go in and edit your content just by having your clips saved and uploaded to the cloud. There is no transfer via SD card or USB port. There is no need to use some kind of janky tool. Metal gets the job done, and it's something that I think is a fantastic opportunity for creators, whether you're making Instagram content or Twitter content, or you just want to share your clips with your friends. This is a great way to do that. And of course, you download the app on your PC, you just connect it to your Xbox account, and you are ready to rock. So this is a fantastic tool that I wanted to share here on the show. If you want to check it out, Metal is free, completely and totally free. You can sign up, share your stuff, and get rolling. But it's a fantastic opportunity to showcase your skills. And with so many games coming out this year, from Battlefield and Call of Duty to Halo Infinite and Forza, now is the time to get ready, practice up, and showcase those skills. But that rounds out today's episode of Xhibition, an Xbox podcast. If you enjoyed the show, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today. Did you see any cool updates from the Tokyo Game Show that caught your interest? What are you playing right now on Xbox Game Pass? And on top of that, are you looking forward to any big games this holiday season? Halo Infinite, Forza, or something else entirely? I would love to hear what you have to say, and you can drop a comment on the YouTube video or hit me up on anchor.fm/Xhibition for the chance to be featured in next week's show. Looking forward to discussing more. And in fact, Anchor has launched a new tool that allows Q&A, so I might toy around with that. Keep your eye out. I'll see how that works, but we could do a little Q&A session or a poll, something along those lines, to see what you guys are playing right now, because it's a very exciting time. But until next week, you guys have a fantastic week ahead. I'll talk to you soon, and keep on playing.